Hello there, my name's Bradders from Dreamcatcher Radio. I thought this would be an opportunity to discuss one of the series that we're running here at Dreamcatcher Radio, which is the Greenfeeds Case, which I believe there is an unsafe conviction. I'm not qualified, I'm not judge and jury, I'm not asking you to accept that proposition, but I'm perfectly entitled to ask questions. And I feel grateful for the opportunity to ask questions. Question what I need to get my head around is, why is Gillian Levers in jail? And I can't get my head around it. We do know there's two victims here. However, that's not the question that I'm seeking the answer to. That's not lack of empathy or understanding for the victims. My understanding is that the victims' families and friends have got the answers they've sought. If they haven't, perhaps some of this will come out in the discussions here that we're having on Dreamcatcher Radio. Well, without a doubt, I don't want anybody to think that I'm undermining the severity of two people who've lost their lives. But my question in this series is, why is Gillian Levers in jail? There's a wealth of experience over many years on that farm. Gillian Levers is the least qualified person on that farm, in my lay opinion, to be responsible for health and safety and management, operationally and functionality of that business. It was a busy business. It had a number of employees with many years of experiences in the industry, far beyond that of Gillian Levers. As we know, Ian Levers run the business, and Ian employed the staff, including a very experienced former manager from, you couldn't say his competitor, they're a lot larger, but from a business that perhaps had many different issues which perhaps Ian's business did not experience. So they also employed a health and safety company to come into the business and explain to them the risks and operationally how staff could work safely. We know through the series so far, where we're at episode number 9, that the operation of the business never changed. The core business never changed, even post this incident, which is very telling. Yes, perhaps people were more guarded, but the business returned to status quo. And that's the bit I don't understand. We've had a number of emails and messages here on Dreamcatcher Radio from people that have opinions and has a narrative, but my focus is understanding, why is Gillian in jail? Why were no witnesses called for the defence? Ian Levers tells me he was chomping at the bit to get on the stand to give evidence, but his barrister argued that if you go on the stand, Gillian is going to be sent to jail. How did that work out? You've got all these characters on site at the farm with so much more knowledge and experience than Gillian. Yet she's in jail. I don't get it. I don't get it. The people that have written into me, unfortunately, all it's been is personal attacks, rather than giving any helpful, meaningful information as to how the business operated and the conduct of the business. So it's not really been helpful where something like there. And one thing that's been levied at me recently, which again I get it, I do understand, is do I not have any moral empathy for the victims and the victims' families? The answer is yes, I do. Of course I do. Why do you think we've not discussed it, gone into detail about what mentality was used that night? We've not. We've stayed away from it purposely. We've focused on asking questions to try and understand why is Gillian Levers in jail. So that's what the series is about, and I'm hoping we come to a point where we can say, look, we've got all these questions here still, but these are the reasonable answers and conclusions we can come to. Because this story is, you know, where they always say it can never happen to me, but until it happens to you, you think, oh God, I kept my mouth shut. This to me is one of those stories where something's gone very, very wrong. Very wrong. And I would like for everybody to understand it. Even I've learned on this journey that a business operator similar to Greenfeeds, following the incident at Greenfeeds, they pulled out the market. And I go back to my original question, post why is Gillian in jail? But you've got this company which is well organised, established, everybody knew what they had to do, and the system never changed. The company did evolve, as Ian's identified, and we've not gone into a lot of detail about it, but the significant investment to make the business model more efficient. And you've got all this experience down there on the farm, and Gillian is the least qualified, yet she's in prison. How did the courts come to the position she is culpable for these deaths that happened? When you've got other directors, you've got management, you've got a private health and safety company, you've got all these sort of policies and procedures in place, risk assessments and method statements. And I'd be, so far today, I'm not aware, I've not spoke to Gillian, or a couple of minute phone call, in which she's even been part of any method and risk assessment meetings or training or anything. We know she's been part of procurement of PPE, that's for sure, but that doesn't give her qualifications to manage a busy site like this. Nothing makes sense. Something has gone very, very wrong, and that's what this series is about. Just try and figure out as much as we can, and then sit down around the table. This series will not get Gillian out of jail, but what this will do, I believe, is get some answers. To what end, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.